everyone, I'm Jenny.
And I'm Jessie.
You're listening to Milkshakes and Ghosts.
Disclaimer. Warning. Warning. The following stories contain accounts of suicide, death, and life after death. Listener discretion is advised.
We're going to get very spooky today.
That's right. We got a treat for all of you listeners out there. Today, we're going to be talking about haunted houses.
It's all about ghosts, baby!
And milkshakes, too. Speaking of milkshakes, what are you drinking today?
I decided to get creative today like you.
Does that mean no coffee today?
No coffee today. I already had my cup of coffee earlier, okay?
Finally.
You inspired me last month. You started looking up milkshake recipes online. So I decided, to do the same thing.
Oh, I can't believe I inspired you.
You sure did, Jessie. I got a recipe online for a pumpkin spice milkshake. Also, when we went to Jeremiah's the other day, and I had that pumpkin gelati, that was so good. So I was specifically looking for something pumpkin since we are in November, and it's kind of a thing right now, trending.
I thought you weren't a fan of pumpkin spice, and neither am I, so.
I'm really not. I do like pumpkin pie. But like I said, turkey season, so everything's pumpkin. I figured might as well give it a shot. And Jeremiah's gelati that was pumpkin flavored was pretty darn good. It actually tasted like pumpkin pie. Now, I would prefer regular pumpkin over pumpkin spice. It does taste different. I think it tastes better. If I could find a drink that tasted like Jeremiah's yesterday, that would be delicious.
Well, how does it taste?
I guess good.
Did you get it from the same website I got mine for Halloween?
No, I found the pumpkin spice milkshake recipe from Studio Delicious. I'll link it in the show notes so everyone listening can go check it out. It's easy to make and it can be made dairy-free as well.
Wait, so yours is non-dairy?
So sorry, Jessie. It's dairy. It's not non-dairy. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make the non-dairy version. I noticed you didn't have a lot of non-dairy ice cream left when I was making this. I didn't want to use what you had left. I promise as soon as we get grocery shopping, I'll buy some more of your ice cream that doesn't have any dairy in it, and then I can make you this recipe. So it is an easy recipe if anyone wants it, and all you need is vanilla ice cream, almond milk, a can of pumpkin puree, pumpkin pie spice, vanilla extract, and a little bit of whipped cream for a topping, which I love.
I'll be waiting for you to make me a non-dairy version. I'm holding on to this. You're saying that you're going to make it? No take-backs.
I promise I will. For everyone listening, if you're interested in this whole recipe, I will link it in our show notes, like I said. If you love pumpkin spice, you'll love this milkshake. So, Jessie, what are you drinking today? Okay, it better not be sugar, because last episode you poured actual sugar in your cup.
What if I say I am and I already had dessert?
Last week when we were podcasting, you did the same thing. You poured a bunch of sugar in your drink, and you were really, really hyper. Even after we stopped podcasting, you were like a little jelly bean bouncing off the walls in the house.
Okay, so I actually didn't, but I already had dessert. I made a really healthy smoothie, so yeah. So my drink is sweet, but I feel like it's not an overkill with sugar since it's always non-dairy. I decided to make a peanut butter cookie smoothie.
Oh, that sounds really, really good.
So the reason why I did say it was healthy is because I added a banana to it, so I guess that makes it healthy. I mean, it's a fruit.
Because you added one banana does not make a whole cup of anything sweet healthy.
I mean, does it? Well, my drink is really good. I found the recipe off this website called prevention.com. The title to this article is 10 Seasonal Drinks. I'll link this website in our show notes. It doesn't just give the recipe to my drink, it has recipes for a total of 10 different holiday drinks.
So, what's in this milkshake that you're drinking besides the banana?
The recipe wanted me to use organic milk, but I did substitute it with the organic milk for plant-based ripple milk. Then I took 1 banana, a tablespoon of peanut butter, and a very, very tiny bit of salt. I was supposed to add chia seeds, but we didn't have any, so.
That sounds really healthy.
Well, it is. It's pretty good. So I'm going to try every single recipe from the article. 10 seasonal smoothies for winter.
Okay, I'll try some other recipes with you. It sounds like fun. I think we should definitely do that together.
One of the recipes has a lot of sugar in it.
Then we're going to stop.
No. So anyways, we're going to be discussing haunted houses today. However, I don't know which haunted house my mom is covering, and she doesn't know what haunted house I'm covering.
That's right. We just decided today's episode needs to be about haunted houses. As usual, we don't discuss with one another what we'll be covering. We like to get a genuine reaction.
I like seeing you scared or shocked when I pick my topics.
It's exciting. I prefer not knowing what you're going to be talking about. All I know is today you picked a haunted house and I picked a haunted house.
Well, I hope you're ready for this one. Today, I will be discussing the Black Swan Inn.
I've never heard of this place. What state is this in?
The Victoria's Black Swan Inn is located in Texas.
I'm excited to hear something new.
Well, like I always say, grab onto your favorite milkshake and hold onto your blankie. Be wary, it's about to be scary. Home is where the heart is. There's no other place like home. Home is a shelter from storms, but sometimes homes are haunted. The Black Swan Inn has ties back to the Native American tribe from 5000 BCE. Centuries after, it became a site of a battle between the Texan and Mexican armies in 1842. With the history like that, it's no surprise that the inn is considered one of Texas' top 10 haunted places. Now, before I discuss the haunts, let's get into the history of the land. I feel that discussing that may make some sense into why the actual house is haunted.
Tell me everything about this place because I know absolutely nothing.
From before 5000 BC to around 1000 AD, the area was the site of the Native American encampments. Artifacts from this time can still be found there. Archaeologists have provided lots of evidence showing that multiple Native American tribes lived on the land where the Black Swan House currently sits. Even more interesting, an ancient burial ground is thought to be directly underneath the home's foundation.
Talk about building a home on top of bad vibes. If there's an ancient burial ground, you know that place is going to be haunted.
Well, that's a proven fact. Stay away from ancient burial grounds if you're trying to build a home, please. There are stories of children playing in Salado Creek and reporting being chased from the area by Native American people. On September 18, 1842, General Adrian Wool, Sam Houston, and his men massacred more than 60 Mexican soldiers during the Battle of Salado. These men were left where they fell. Only one Texan lost his life, Stephen Jett, during the battle. One report tells of a supposed reenactment witnessed by a guest who later discovered that no reenactments were going on that day.
Whoa, that's spooky. I can't imagine going somewhere and thinking I'm seeing people reenact something from long ago and just sitting there thinking it's a show, when in reality, there's no people reenacting it, just ghosts. That is really spooky.
Yeah, I would pack my things and leave. The inn can keep my money, and if I was the owner, I'd probably burn that house down.
I'd want to stay and get proof that there is ghosts and then leave. I wouldn't want to stay the night, not an overnight visit, just for an hour, maybe 3 hours, and just check it out a little bit.
Okay, so I gave a quick rundown of the history of the land. Now, let's discuss the actual history of the inn.
I'm waiting to hear about these hauntings. I've never heard of this place, but so far, you've intrigued me. So, my ears are ready to listen to what you have to say. Bring on the spooky, Jessie.
Well, I'll get to that, but first, let me continue to explain the history. I feel like you can't have a haunting without a past that defines the outcome of the location you're talking about.
Well said, Jessie. You're absolutely right. The past always defines what will happen in the future, especially when it comes to haunting.
35 years later, after the Battle of Salado between the Texan and Mexican armies, Heinrich Mahler founded a dairy farm on the land where the battle was held. He purchased the plot for $2,200 in 1887. They built the first home on the property. The couple had a few children and named the farm Blue Bonnet Dairy. The Mahlers ran the farm until the mid-1930s. The house's history took an interesting turn soon after the Mahler's wife passed away. Mr. Mahler soon passed away after that.
Anywhere there's a death, a haunting soon follows.
Well, hold on that. Be patient. We're not quite there yet. Anyway, after the Mahlers passes away, the Hallbrooks and Woods families purchased the property. Mr. Hallbrooks lived with his wife and her sister Jolene Woods.
That's awesome. It must be so convenient to have your sister living under one roof with you.
Since they decided to live together, they needed more space. They conducted extensive remodeling on the property and added 2 wings to extend the mansion to accommodate the growing families. After purchasing more land, a second home was built. Unfortunately, in 1901, it burned down. They nicknamed the original home the White Gables. And when Jolene Woods married a man named Hall Street, they took over the Gables entirely. Tragedy struck soon after Jolene died of cancer at 38 years old.
Oh my gosh, that's so young. That's really sad.
Well, it gets even sadder. Her husband took the loss incredibly hard, and Hall was found dead on August 5th, 1965. He hung himself from the poster of a bed with his belt.
Oh my goodness, that's horrific. Now, the death toll is really starting to get high there in that home. This is not looking good for the hauntings.
Rest in peace, guys. Although there was talk of Hall's death having resulted from murder, officials ruled it as suicide and closed the books. The property passed hands a few more times before it ended up in the hands of its current owner, Joanne Marks Andrew, who named the house Victoria's Black Swan Inn, after one of William Shakespeare's favorite pubs. The house is Joanne's private residence, and her children also live in the home. Joanne's mother spent a ton of time at the home and ended up passing away in one of the bedrooms after an illness.
Wow, that is a lot of death under one roof.
I know, there's been like 1,000 already. That's crazy. But now, it's your favorite part. It's time for the hauntings.
I've been waiting.
People have identified the ghost of Mrs. Wood, Jolene's mother, in the home. She seems to stay in a small bedroom in the south wing. She spent several years confined to the room before she had to be placed in a nursing home. Her final resting place was actually in one of the downstairs bedrooms. And that is the place where many guests experience an overwhelming harsh energy and a feeling of hopelessness.
That's horrible. Dying from an illness is tragic, but then getting no peace in your afterlife? I imagine she may have felt like fear from knowing she had an illness with no cure. Feeling hopeless in life and in death is not an afterlife a spirit like that deserves. Waiting for peace that never comes? That seems more like a torture. That doesn't seem peaceful at all.
Yeah, I know. She deserves peace. Well, everyone does after they die. Well, at least all the good people.
I agree with you on that. Good people do deserve peace.
A few ghost hunters did an investigation at the home. They made contact with the spirit Hall Street, Jolene Wood's husband. Jolene Wood's husband.
Wasn't he the one who hung himself with the belt?
Yep, that's him. Remember when he first died, they weren't sure if it was suicide or homicide. Eventually, they ruled it as suicide. According to the investigators, Hall Street was murdered. The investigators felt after he was murdered, he was moved to another part of the home to make the death look like a suicide. It is believed that Mr. Street was killed over a treasure he still guards in the south wing. The scariest spirit on the property is said to be a man who has been spotted stalking angrily over the house. Rumor has it that he is the ghost of Hall Street. Perhaps he's looking for his lost wife, Jolene, who is said to haunt the inn after tragedy strikes.
Spooky! I've got goosebumps on my arms right now. My goosebumps have goosebumps. This sounds like a nightmare I had 2 days ago, actually.
OMG. You had a nightmare about this? Actually, a few days ago I did. I dreamed it before I researched it too, and you didn't even know about this story, so.
Okay, so what did you dream?
I dreamt this angry man with the tall hat. He was wearing a black suit, I think. The jacket was weird looking. It was longer in the back than it was in the front.
That's called a tailcoat jacket, actually. It was common for that era that you're speaking of.
Oh, that makes sense. In my dream, he was like angry and walking back and forth in front of his Victorian 2-story home. Also, he was kind of like transparent a little bit, which was weird.
Was there a woman standing on the second floor balcony by any chance?
Oh my goodness, yes!
Was she wearing a white long sleeve
Dress.
Oh my gosh, no way. That's crazy. That was my dream too. No way.
My God, how do we dream the exact same thing? This is before I found an article on Victoria's Black Swan Inn, actually. So after I found multiple articles and started reading about the hauntings, Hall Street and his wife reminded me of this dream, actually. So that's kind of crazy.
I didn't even know you were doing this as your ghost story today. I figured you were going to pick something more well-known, like the Amityville haunting. I didn't think you would pick this. I've never even heard of this, actually, until today.
Yeah, this is kind of weird, and now I'm weirded out about this.
I told you, same here. My goosebumps have goosebumps. And those goosebumps have goosebumps.
Anyway, people have also witnessed the ghost of Jolene. Jolene is said to wander around the property in a luxurious white gown with a beaded medallion and feather at the back over her dark hair. She's seen briefly around the gazebo.
That's so strange. In our dreams, she was in the balcony. I wonder if there's a real photo of her online.
I couldn't find any, but maybe you can help me look after this episode to see if she matches the woman both in our dreams.
Sounds like a plan. We need to see if this same woman in our dreams is the same woman to the story. We should look up the guy too.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. So there are also other unexplained happenings in the Victoria's Black Swan Inn. Guests report bruises and scratches, images of a ghostly toddler, pinches from unseen hands, ghosts of children, and moving objects. That, my friends, is the haunted tale of Victoria's Black Swan Inn.
Wow, Jessie. You never stop amazing me with your stories. I still can't believe we had the same dream. It's really creepy.
It really is. Maybe we should visit the Victoria's Black Swan Inn.
Maybe the spirits are calling to us.
Okay, that's kind of creepy, but they probably are tired of being trapped in there, so.
Are you ready for my haunted house story?
Bring in the milkshakes and the hauntings.
Hold on to your seats. It's about to get spooky. If a family curse were possible, my story would be living proof of it. The Lemp Mansion legend is the spookiest and one of the most haunted places you will ever hear about.
I don't think I ever heard of this.
Well, you're in for a treat. The spooks and haunts are based off of the tragedies of the same family for generations and generations to come. Built in the 1860s by the head of the local Western brewery, Lemp Mansion served as the family's home and remote office. William J. Lemp, son of brewery founder Adam Lemp, became legend with unique ideas for refrigeration. This happened before an actual refrigerator was available. William came up with the idea to use deep caves as a form of refrigeration. Later, he started using large ice houses that were set up in a Mississippi River levee in South St. Louis. The focus on refrigeration gave the Lemps business an advantage in the market. The family business boomed until the early 1900s, when the tragedies began. From this point forward, this will be known as the Lemp Family Curse.
So I was hoping the story would remain happy for a little bit longer. Well, they started with a successful, strong business, so
They sure did start out with success, but since we talk about everything spooky, you know I wouldn't have covered this article if it didn't lead to something being scary at the end of all of it, right?
ain't that the truth?
This curse did start with someone, and that someone was Frederick.
Now, who's Frederick?
Frederick is William Sr.'s favorite son.
Why favorite?
Because he was. I don't know why. You shouldn't have favorites, but Frederick was definitely William's favorite. He was supposed to take over the family's business. Unfortunately, he got very sick. Although his family and medical professionals tried everything to save him, nothing worked. In 1901, at the age of 28 years old, Frederick passed away. His death was listed as mysterious circumstances. People created many myths and legends over this. However, Frederick's death was no mystery. It was just heart failure.
Huh? That's really young to have heart failure.
Yes, it is. It could have been hereditary. William Sr. took his son's death very, very hard for many years that followed. During this time of grief, his lifelong friend Fred also passed away. These tragic events are what led to what happens next. It was Saturday, February 13th, 1904. The time was 9:30 a.m. At the age of 68 years old, William committed suicide. The servants heard a gunshot from the master bedroom of the home. When they came to see what was going on, they found William on the floor.
Oh my god, I was not expecting that crazy plot twist.
It gets worse. Only 2 years later, in 1906, William's widow Julia got cancer. She lasted only a few months, dying in the same bedroom where her husband took his life. Her end was peaceful, with her 4 sons and 3 daughters at her side.
That's sad, but at least she was surrounded by the people she loves.
William Jr. pushed on after his parents' death and ran the family business as best as he could. However, he had a major drinking problem. It did not help that he was in charge of a successful brewery. Eventually, he put more energy into partying than into his brewery. This made the business suffer. He also cheated on his wife. When she found out, she filed for divorce.
He sure sounds like a loser.
He sure is. He had it all. A successful business, lots of money, a devoted, loving wife.
And he just threw it all away. He must not have been the brightest bulb.
The divorce his wife filed caused a media frenzy. At the end of it all, Lillian was awarded a record-high settlement in 1913, along with sole custody of their son, William III.
My goodness, there's so many Williams and Fredericks. They didn't have another name back then?
I guess not. It was a really popular name. In 1920, Prohibition happened. This made profits drop from the brewery. Soon after, William's sister Elsa moved into the mansion when her marriage broke down. Her relationship was over, and then back on again.
That kind of sounds confusing.
It sure does. She remarried the same man again and again. Just 11 days after, she had a night of insomnia. On that night, in a fit, she grabbed a gun and shot herself in the head.
That is so weird. Oh my god. She literally died just like her father.
She sure did. Now, just 2 years later, William Jr. also gave up and sold the brewery close to nothing.
Again, not the brightest bulb in the bunch. He just ran the family business into the ground.
He should have held on to it and just waited a little bit longer because Prohibition was finally over. Do you remember, Jessie, who I was talking about earlier, William Jr. and Lillian's son, who was also named William III?
Yes, I do, and I'm gonna say this again. There's like a bunch of Williams and Fredericks in the story, I swear, but more Williams than Fredericks. I guess I couldn't think of any other name.
Well, William III was now all grown up. He tried to bring back the family brewery. He started his own business and utilized the family's name. Unfortunately, his business failed. He died of a heart attack at the age of 42.
Oh my gosh. That's the same way the first William had died in the beginning of your story.
Yep. Again, I would consider this hereditary. Now, another family member comes into the mix. Charles Lemp.
Finally a different name, but who is he? You haven't mentioned him before.
Charles is a brother of William Jr. and uncle to William III. Charles' sibling advised him not to move into the family's home, especially his brother Edwin, who was highly against it. Edwin advised Charles to sell the home, but Charles wouldn't hear of it and became the final member of the St. Louis's family to live inside the Lemp mansion.
That is an automatic death sentence.
Charles was an unmarried bachelor. He moved into the home with his German shepherd, Serva.
It kind of reminds me of the lotion CeraVe. Not trying to be rude, I'm sorry. Okay. This makes me also feel even more sad because I have a feeling I know how this is going to end. And you can't bring a dog into a tragic story. Please, no.
Sorry, but there's a dog in this story.
I hope it doesn't end with... end bad for the dog in the story.
So it was just the two of them living in the home with a couple of servants. Charles was a recluse and rarely entertained or went out. He had a reputation of being an angry man, and over time became terrified of germs and illnesses. Visitors were not allowed to wear shoes in the house. He also refused to shake anyone's hand.
I feel like that's not a bad thing since most people back then didn't understand medicine, sickness, or germs.
Well, he was a little excessive. He also showered 6 times a day and washed money before touching it.
How do you wash money? It's paper.
I have no idea.
Okay, well, that's just weird.
It sounds like he was a germaphobe and he also had OCD. That's just my assumption. I should also mention Charles was friends with, are you ready for this, Jessie? Horror actor Vincent Price. I have a fun fact about Vincent Price.
What's that?
Vincent Price is the voice for Michael Jackson's Thriller. He's the one at the beginning of the song saying, "Darkness falls on all the land. The midnight hour is close at hand."
That's so cool. I didn't know that.
Price was a frequent visitor at the Lemp mansion. Charles and him spent a lot of time together. It's said that the pair went out to St. Louis's art galleries a lot. In 1941, Charles did something strange. He wrote a letter to a local funeral home.
That's weird.
The letter was clear on how he wanted things to be handled after his death.
That makes it sound like he's a danger to himself.
At 8 a.m. on the morning of May 10th, 1941, servant Alfred Bittner returned to clear the breakfast tray from Charles's bedroom. He saw that the breakfast tray was untouched. When he opened the bedroom door, he noticed Charles lying on the floor, holding a gun. There was a note beside him. It read,
"In case I am found dead, blame it on no one but me."
They also found his dog Serva. Charles had shot her first.
Like, you could have shot your son, but not the dog. Why did he shoot the dog? The dogs have little lives than us.
It's really sad. It was said he didn't want his fur baby to be alone after he was gone.
I can't believe he shot his dog, but he could have let his servant take her.
I was thinking the same exact thing when I read the article. I think he should have just let the dog live.
Wait, no, he's a germaphobe, though.
Funny, germaphobe, and the dog was a German Shepherd. So, thankfully, the final son of William Jr. lived a normal life, smartly staying far away from the family's mansion. And if there's any doubt of his reasoning, this was cleared after his death, of natural causes, by the way. Upon reading the son's final will and testament, he made it known upon his death. All heirlooms, antiques, and even precious artworks inside the Lemp mansion are to be destroyed. Not sold or repurposed, destroyed. It's not confirmed, but many believe it's his way of ending the curse.
Is it haunted?
After research, I kept seeing multiple witnesses say there is a ghost. And the ghost they see is the ghost of Zeke.
I'm going to ask this for everyone. Who is Zeke?
I know. I just threw in a random name. I said the same thing when I was researching. We have all these Williams, all these Fredericks, and then boom, you got a Zeke. And I'm just like, where did Zeke come in? So many people speculate that Zeke was a child born out of wedlock of the Lemp family, most likely the love child of William Lemp Jr. He's also seen on the 3rd floor. People have even caught pictures of the ghost on camera. I'm going to show you when I'm done with this podcast with you because I have them on my phone, Jessie. They're really cool looking. There's a total of 9 spirits in the home that make themselves known. Zeke is just the more common one. I was watching a YouTube video. Girl, I had to stop it. I could not finish the video.
Why'd you stop?
Honestly, I actually got really creeped out. And both our dogs were acting really strange and barking at nothing. And I kept on hearing really weird noises in my room.
We're in our house.
Nah, girl. Both our dogs stopped acting crazy and stopped barking after I stopped playing the YouTube video. So it definitely was something on that video. The lady was amazing that was talking. She was a psychic medium. And she was talking about all the spirits that were in this Lemp mansion. And these dogs started going crazy. And I was just like, okay. Then there was like little weird noises in our bathroom, in the family room that I could hear as I was laying down in my bed in our master bedroom. I got too creeped out. I had to check it off.
That's creepy.
It made it more creepy since I was home alone, okay? There was no one else here.
Sorry you had to go through that. If I was home, I would have protected you.
I'm sure you would have.
And when I mean by protected you, I would have ran out the house.
Oh, jeez. I would have got the EMF if you were home. I would have tried to see, like, what is going on for real. I didn't have enough courage without you being here, believe it or not, to get that EMF. But if you were here, I would have been like, let's go ghost hunting.
Get the EMF, get the cat balls, get the spirit box, get everything.
True ghost hunters here.
But I also have a question. Is the Lemp mansion still up or has it been destroyed?
It's still around. Matter of fact, the Lemp mansion offers dining, overnight accommodations, Sunday family chicken-style dinners, as well as regular events including comedy, murder, mystery dinners, the Lemp mansion escape room every Sunday, boozy bingo events, public and private scavenger hunts, trivia at the Lemp mansion, and opportunities to go ghost hunting, Jessie.
So, it sounds great. Now, when are we visiting?
Let's ask Dad first. I wouldn't mind going, especially for Sunday family-style chicken dinner, and the comedy murder mystery dinner sounds good.
You know, I was just thinking about ghost hunting, but that's good!
Dinner first, then ghost hunting, okay? I will link the Lemp Mansion main website in our show notes in case anyone is interested in visiting.
Thank you so much for tuning in for another Milkshakes and Ghosts episode. If you want to follow our socials, we're available on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Threads, Twitter, and Patreon. Please subscribe to our socials. We are trying to grow them, especially our YouTube. Our YouTube handle is @MilkshakesGhost.
If you would like to become a Patreon member, please visit patreon.com/milkshakesandghosts. I will link it in the show notes, along with all of our socials.
Join Patreon for free monthly gifts and cool perks.
Let's give a shout out to our awesome Patreon members. Mr. E, Special Delivery Show. Check out the Special Delivery Show. His podcast takes interviews to a whole new level. I also want to give a warm welcome to our newest Patreon member, Daniel Hollis. Daniel has been a longtime listener of Milkshakes and Ghosts and my other podcast I do with my husband, Teddy, Cream in My Coffee. Thank you so much, Danny, for all your love and support through the years. I'd like to give a big shout out to Pods R Us. Pods R Us is also a longtime supporter of Cream in My Coffee podcast and now Milkshakes and Ghosts. Pods R Us is a digital creator. They post weekly updated top 10 best podcasts to listen to. Let Pods R Us help you find your next podcast episode. I will link their Instagram in our show notes.
MAG VIP members also include the Paranormal Duo, Laura and Joanne, Ricky M, Bruce the All Spooky, Harmony, Joan of Arc, The Dark Side, Ronald H, Joe Santana, Myra Morales from That's So Spooky, Jada Kumar H, Tony S, Jean from The Truth Is Out There, Nadia and Edward, Carl and Becca, Mandy and Kenneth, Jules and Christina, Joel from The Paranormal Countdown, Alan, Death Star 1, PR Princess, Maxine, UK Ghost Haunts and Hunts, Terror Screams, Jules M, Victor and Myra, Linda and Colin, Gavenport, Haunted Canadian History, Melissa and Dan, The Truth Is Out There with Carly and Allison, I'm Haunted by David Becker.
Thank you all so much for being Patreon members. We appreciate each and every single one of you.
And remember, keep drinking milkshakes
And keep being spooky!
spooky.
Haunted house creeping